Well, hello folks, and welcome to another edition of BC Renovation Magazine. My name is Kent, and today I'm going to tell you what we're doing as far as some plumbing upgrades in this mobile home renovation that we're doing. So this mobile home is a 1992, and when it was built in 1992, it was plumbed with PEX, or not, I'm sorry, not PEX, it was plumbed with polybutylene, also known as poly-B as the short term for it. So here you can see down here where this is this gray pipe. So this gray pipe here is what's called polybutylene or poly-B. So the thing with poly-B is, at least around here, it's getting really hard to get insurance on a home if you have this in there. They consider, insurance companies consider this a major liability if this is in your home. Because of perceived problems with it as far as splitting and pinholes and things like that and causing water damage. If you can find it, well, not most, but some insurance companies will just outright deny you coverage, and if you can find somebody that will give you coverage, usually you pay a premium price for that coverage because of the, again, perceived risk. There's lots of different generations of, well, it's three generations of poly-B, and this particular home has the third generation. So of the three, of all of the poly-B that is out there, this home has the best of the worst, I guess you could say. So what we are going to do is we are changing all of those polybutylenes, and those are supply pipes. That's your hot and cold, and we're changing it to PEX. And so PEX is the modern material, and PEX is, again, another type of plastic pipe. So we're just trading one plastic pipe for another plastic pipe. But this is the newest generation of plastic pipe, and it's accepted by everyone. So to have this work done to take all of these pipes out from underneath the mobile home. Around here you're looking at about $2,500, and that's just to have the piping changed. That's no other upgrades. It's just to get rid of that gray piping. Usually it's done from underneath. If you have finished floors, of course, then you have to do it from the bottom. But when you're in a project like this and you've got your floors up, we're putting new floors down, this is the time to change out your poly-B, because you can do it all from the top, and it's a lot easier. So I'll show you. I've got started here, and I'm starting at the front of the home, and the way this works is the supply lines come from the back. So at the back of this home we have the hot water tank, and the hot water tank is kind of ground zero for all of your plumbing in any home. It's just kind of starts from there. So I'm working my way back to that. And so I've got this started, and the way I'm accessing this is through the top. So you can see how I've got these holes here, and I'm working the new piping in. So I showed you in a previous video when we did the bathroom upgrade how I added this. This is a tap that goes outside, and so outside this is an outside wall. So on the other side of the wall here, there's a tap for gardening, and there was only one tap way far at the back. So if you wanted to do any watering in the front, you had to haul like 100 feet of hose to get to the front. So I'm putting a new tap in. So you can see here how I've come here through the wall, and then I've gone down through the plate there, and I'll show you on the other side here, where I've cut an access hole here in the floor, and there you can see the pipe that comes down from the wall on the other side. Now that pipe goes underneath the floor and comes over here and attaches right there. So that pipe on the right is the one that's coming from that hose bib over there. So now that pipe is all inside the crawl space. It's all heated. It's protected from frost. Now, when we did that bathroom video, I showed you how, we roughed in these two lines here for the new tub. And so now you can see I've started my runs going to the back of the home. So the white lines are 3/4 inch lines. Your main lines are you want to have those 3/4, so you have full pressure all the way, you know, to your fixture. Here you can see where we've got some 1/2 inch. These are the old ones. Again, this is that old poly B pipe, and so we've, you know, we're upgrading to the 3/4 inch. So over here in that corner we have a sink, and so here are the new pipes going down through the space, you know, over to that far side to service that sink. Okay, so red is hot, cold is blue. It's just a kind of a way that I code to keep myself going, but you can see there how we transition from the 3/4 to the 1/2 inch for that run to the sink. Okay, again, these two that are already plumbed here, these ones are going to be going away. All right, so but there we've got everything's already up to the tub, ready to go. So now when you get to this point here, you have to have a way to, you know, bring the pipes up through the floor here. So, you know, all you do is just cut yourself a little access panel here, and, you know, when this is all done, I'm just going to pop this back in here and cover it up, and you know, it's going to be new flooring and everything going on top, so it'll all be covered up. So you can see there how I'll try and stick the camera in there, but there you can see how we've kind of stapled them to the joist. You know, conventional plumbing, you're going to want to staple these joists, like these clamps here, these black things. You know, you want to try and get as fastened as much as you can, but, you know, in a retrofit like this, it's kind of hard to do, so, you know, you do what you can. But, so this is up here now, and this is all ready for when we go to put the sink in. Now, something interesting about this, when I opened this up, there was no insulation in here. All there was here was just the belly wrap. So, you know, essentially this place in here was cold. It was cold air from the bottom could just come right through the belly wrap. There was no insulation in here. So, you know, when you come across stuff like that, you want to take care of it. Otherwise, you can imagine, you know, that it's a possibility that these pipes could freeze. In our climate, not so likely, but, you know, if you live in a place where it gets like 40 below zero, this space would get cold and you could freeze in your vanity here. All right, so where I'm at now is I'm going to continue on. So you can see from, you know, where these stubs are, I'm going to pull through, and I have to pick up the toilet here. So you can see here where the toilet goes there. There's a T there for the toilet. And so I'm going to have to do that. But those are the original main lines there. You can see them. And those main lines go in a straight line, pretty much straight line. So they will come through basically where that red dustpan is. That's where the line, the toilet is on the other side of the wall. So they follow right through under the floor, right underneath here. So all I did was measure and cut the floor. And, you know, I cut here, lo and behold, these are my main runs. Okay, this is the cold main, and this is the hot main, and this is a hot over to that sink, and then this is the cold. So now again, over here, I'm going to be bringing in new lines, just like I did over in that bathroom sink, and I'm going to have my lines coming up in the floor of the cabinet instead of the way it was before, where they were kind of in this hollow space over here. So you can kind of see how this works. So this pipe here, this is the drain for the sink, and you can see how it goes into that space, and it goes under the floor. Okay, and here it is. It comes across here, all right, and then it goes there, and then it ties into the to the main pipe. Now here in the electrical video, you saw how that wire. This is the wire that I've added for a plug for on the end of the peninsula here. And this is where I've poked it up through. So, I mean, you can just see how much easier this is working up on top here. You know, it's still winter here. It's cold outside. Down in that crawl space, it's cold. And, you know, you've got, in our case here, we have 6 inches of fiberglass insulation. And then underneath that fiberglass insulation, we have the belly wrap. And then, you know, you've got, depending on where you are, underneath the home, you've got not much space, you know, to work underneath there. It's cold, it's dark, it's you know, it's tight, and you have to crawl around on your belly. You know, if you're working over your head underneath there, there's stuff falling in your face. This is just so much easier. So again, you know, this only works if you're redoing your floors. So, you know, if you have to change your piping, you have finished floors, then you got to go underneath. But this just makes it so much easier. So I'm going to be working now. This next step here now is I'm going to be cutting this lines all out of here, and then I have to pull through my new pipes, you know, from the other side over there where that red dustpan is and where the toilet is. I'll be pulling through these new 3/4 inch PEX underneath, and then I'll get to this point, do all my connections, and then I'll carry on down the way to the bathroom. So we have that bathroom is on the other side there, and the laundry. And if you remember, we roughed in, you know, all of that before as well. So that's all ready to go there. It's waiting for us just to get those main lines down there and connect, and then from there it'll be to the hot water tank. Okay, and the hot water tank is in. So I've got it back to that point. So I'm working my way back to here. So this is the new hot water tank. And the way this works is this is the main line here, this one here. So this is the one that goes down. This goes out to the street. That's the one that we ran underneath quite a while ago, and that's the one that has the heat tape on it. So here you can see the orange wire is coming up for the heat tape, and it's plugged into this GFI outlet that we have here. Okay. This valve here is our main valve for the house. So from here, the water comes up and it goes through this device. This device is it's called a PRV valve, a pressure regulator valve. So this does two things. It reduces the street pressure. I'm not sure what the street pressure here is, but it's usually around between 90 and 100 pounds around in this area. And that's too much pressure for our plumbing fixtures. It will damage your plumbing fixtures. So you need to install this thing to cut the pressure down to about 50 pounds. Is kind of where I'd like to be. This is adjustable. You can use this screw here to adjust how much pressure it is, so you have a range of you know, pressure that you can use. All right, and it's adjusted with this screw. This also is a backflow preventer. So what the backflow preventer does is it prevents any water from going back into the municipal system, and this is a requirement. They don't want any, in the event that something happens that you get a backflow, they don't want any backflow going into the municipal system. Here it's the park system. So any backflow will come to this point and stop. It won't go any further. All right, and then you can see here where I've you know, this is finished now for that hose bib on the outside. Hose bib is a water tap, garden tap on the outside. Okay. And this, you can see this is a frost-free tap, which means that it won't freeze. Okay, that's what they look like on this side. All right, and then the main comes up here, and across here, and then we do a takeoff into the hot water tank. So this is the hot water tank supply valve right here, and this device here is a vacuum breaker. This is the purpose of this thing is that if there's a backflow, what happens is instead of drawing water out of the hot water tank, it'll draw air through here, and so it won't collapse your hot water tank. So it's very important to have this thing up here. Okay, then we have a ground wire, and this is just a CSA thing for us that we have to ground out the tank. So this is grounded out through the water, like through the water line. And this is the pressure relief valve for the hot water tank. So if it gets too hot or too high pressure, it'll blow out and come down this pipe. So this is just roughed in. It's still, this is going to connect with all those pipes that I'm going to bring back from the front that I'm working on now. Okay, and ultimately those pipes are going to end up coming up through there. So I'm still going to have cut another hole here, and then I'll be lifting that shower base again to get access into that. Now, something that I have never seen in a mobile home is hot water tanks sitting in a pan, a drip pan. And I have seen so many cases where the floors in a mobile home are damaged because of a hot water tank that's leaked. And the thing with hot water tanks is that it's not if they leak, it's when they leak. Every hot water tank is eventually going to leak. It's just a time bomb sitting there waiting to go off. So you know, it's going to do damage. And in mobile homes, you know, we have these particle board floors, and you know, these are fine as long as you don't get them wet. So you want to keep these floors dry. So whenever I put a new hot water tank in a mobile home, I always set it in a pan. And so the way this works is if this pressure release thing pops, it's going to come down into the pan. If there's when the tank gets a leak, it's going to, you know, fill the pan, and it's going to go out this is a drain for the pan, and the water will come out, and it goes down through here, and this pipe goes straight down into the crawl space, so there'll be no damage. So, you know, if at some point in time you open the closet door here, this is going to have a door on it, and you see that there's water in the pan, okay, you know that that thing is leaking. But at least it's leaking down onto the ground underneath the mobile home. It's not, you know, it's not leaking on your floors. It's not going to do any damage on your floors. You know, this pan is about 20 bucks. It's cheap insurance, you know, I don't know why people don't put them in. I don't know why they don't put them in at the factory, but for some reason, I've never seen one. You know, in the older ones, maybe they do in the new ones, but the older homes that I work on, they just don't. So this is an electric hot water tank, so I haven't hooked up the electrical yet, but here's my electrical. So this is you know, 220 that's going to get hooked into here. This is the wire, place with the wire. All right, so that's kind of shows you where I'm at. I'll give you an update here once I get a little bit more work done. All right, so moving right along here, I changed my mind on how I was going to get the water to the toilet. So, you know, originally I was planning to tee off of these pipes here to the toilet and go in that way, but I changed my mind on that because it was hard to get in there with the tools. So what I ended up doing here was I put a T in the line here, so you can see right there where I've teed, and this line going this way goes to the toilet. All right, so now you can see over there we've got the new piece of PEX coming through there, and so that's all kind of still temporary in there. You know, this toilet's not going to stay here. We're obviously going to be putting a new toilet in, but you know, there's going to be underlayment for ceramic tile to go in here yet. And then the ceramic tile on top of that. So that's just kind of temporary, but it's ready. So now you can see the valve that I have on there. That's different than a lot of different valves. That's what's called a ball valve. So on a lot of these older homes, they will have these, you'll see a valve like this. So this was the one that was originally underneath there, came through the floor, and it's these screwy things here. And these are not great. If you don't, what we call, exercise these things every once in a while, they'll actually get stuck. You know, these are very cheaply made, and you know, just really low quality kind of thing, and they'll stick on you. And then when you really need to turn the water off, you'll go to turn the water off and it won't turn off. You know, you can't get it turned off. So I like to change them out to this type of valve. And so this is what's called a ball valve. This is what we call a gate valve. And so this is a ball valve style. So instead of this, you know, turning and turning and turning thing on this one, you know, here, this is just a quarter turn. And it's, you know, on and off with the quarter turn. So there it's in the off position. So this actually will sit there like that. Now, also on the pipe coming out of the floor comes into here. This is the PEX, and then we go with the braid above that. Here we got the old poly B, and again they use the poly B riser from here to the bottom of the toilet. If you do have these in your home, it's a good idea every once in a while to just, work them. So, close it and then open it up again. And also, you don't want to open them and have them fully open. You always want to go fully open and then turn them, about a half a turn, so that it's that there's a rubber gasket in there. And if you do that, it prevents it from seating and getting stuck on the back of the stem there. And which also that's the reason why if it gets stuck, then you can't close the valve. So, but I get rid of those things. I don't like them. I take them right out. All right, so now you can see how, I've got these pipes here now, my main runs. I'm working on my main runs to get back to that hot water tank there. So here's my hot and here's my cold, and I'm just marking in to keep myself straight. And so now I've pulled these pipes in, okay, and you can see how they come through this hole here. I showed you that there, okay. And now we have these all the way up here, up to this point here. All right. So here again, you're keeping track of hot and cold. So you can see I've got them labeled hot and cold. And so now I'm ready to go for the next run. So I'm at this point here now where I do my branch over for the kitchen sink, which is going to sit there. And so, these pipes, you just have to push them and pull them and you do whatever you can to get them through. Something that I use is an electrical fish tape, which is this thing. So if you can, this is on a coil in here, and you just take and push this little steel thing through, and then if you can, work that through, it's easier to get that through than it is the pipe. But once you get that through to the other side, then you can tape the tape to this fish tape, and then you can pull. If you've got two people, it works better. If you've got somebody pulling and someone else pushing, and then you just bring the pipe through, just like I've done here. Okay, so here I've got this is a T, so I've got these T's in here, and I've got the cold running over to that sink there, and the hot. Okay, and you'll see them coming up. Now you'll see that, and you'll wonder, how come he's got 4 pipes there? You've got 2 hots and 2 colds. So what I like to do is, under the sink, I like to have everything under the sink. I like to put shut-off valves underneath the sink for refrigerator and dishwasher. So what I've done here is, these ones that are capped are the supply lines. And then eventually, once my cabinets are installed and I finish up here, this line here is going to get connected in with a valve. So again, this is just a rough in. But this is going to come, comes underneath the floor, and it's going to come to my dishwasher. And you can see this is that pipe coming from the sink compartment, and it comes up right here. So the reason I'm doing that is because in this case, the dishwasher is not going to sit right beside the sink. So if I don't do that, then I've got to get water from the sink to the dishwasher, and in this case, that's going to mean going through this. Through this cabinet that's going to be in the middle here. I've done the same thing. So when I'm done here, there'll be a valve underneath the sink to control that. And again, with a dishwasher, it's not a matter of if it's going to leak. A dishwasher is always going to leak eventually. And at least this way, if you notice water on the floor from your dishwasher leaking, you can just turn off the valve, and you don't have to shut everything down. You can just turn that down while you get your dishwasher fixed. If it takes a couple days or whatever to get someone to come in, you still have a serviceable sink. So I have the same idea with the fridge. So we took delivery of our appliances here, and so you can see I've got all my appliances here, and we're a bit premature for our appliances, but going back to that video where I was giving you shopping tips, you buy your stuff when you can buy it on sale. So all of these appliances were bought on a Black Friday sale, and so they held them for us for well, what is it, 2 months. They stored them for free for us, but our freebie ended, and so I had to take delivery of them, so that's why they're here. And it's no problem, I've done this before, I'll just work around them. But here's a little sneak of the appliances. So this is the refrigerator. And so we go with some pretty high-end appliances in these homes, and you can see that this fridge has a water and ice maker in the door, so we need to get water to the fridge. So again, the fridge is going to sit on the opposite end of that cabinet run from the sink, so we have to get water over to it. So I'm the kind of person, I don't like to have a bunch of hoses and things going around in the cabinets. I just don't like that. I like things clean and neat and tidy. And you know, as it goes here with this dishwasher, you know, we're still going to have a drain hose that we have to deal with, and that's going to have to go through somehow to get to the sink, to drain in the sink. But you know, that's going to be another video. And so what I've done with the cold for the fridge is I have taken it from there, so that one with the black tape on it is going to be the going to the fridge. It goes down to the floor, okay, and that is this line here, okay. Then I turn and I go under the floor down to this point, and there you can see it's coming out. That's it right there. And so from there I go over to this location here, and this is where the fridge is going to sit. So you can just see how I've just done that, and you need to cut these little panels, you know, so you can get in there to fasten things. But you know, eventually the braided fridge line for the supplying the ice maker and the water in the door is going to get connected to this blue pipe. And here on the back of the fridge, you can see this is where it will be connected. So it'll be connected right to this. This little cap will come off. This is the solenoid for the controls the water flow for. All of this is for water in the door and ice maker, etc. Now, one of the things you might notice here is when I bring the pipes through the floor, it's it's pretty tight. A problem with mobile homes is that they make everything really loose. So originally, you know, these pipes came in over here, and you can see how big these holes are. You know, they're huge. And you can also see, like around this drain pipe, you can just see how big this is. So this is not going to go back in. I'm going to cut a new piece of plywood that's not going to have any holes in it. And then I'm going to do something with this. I'll show you with this. But what happens with this is if you leave big gaps like that, mice can get in. And you know, it's just underneath the cabinets. It's just you know, they smell the food and stuff in your cabinets. And you know, then they come up into your cabinets that way from the bottom. So a lot of people, you'll see when they have problems with mice, they do all kinds of things. You know, they'll go in here and they'll spray foam around all this stuff. That expanding foam is just about the worst thing that you can use to try and stop mice. I think it actually attracts mice. And it's just, you know, once it hardens up, they can just chew through that like nothing. Something that's kind of effective is, you know, some people will take steel wool and poke it in around there. But the best solution is to have things fit tight. So you can see how tight this is fitting. You know, there's going to be no mice coming up beside those. All right, so if you're going to do this yourself, you kind of have to have some tools. And when you're working with PEX, the main tools that your main tools are crimpers. And so these are crimpers. And you know, basically, if you're going to do this, you need to have three crimping tools. You're working with two sizes of pipe. You're working with a 1/2 inch. This is a 1/2 inch, and this is a 3/4 inch. This tool is a combination. It's got both of them on. And the idea of this is that this tool here, it takes a lot of room to use it because you got to spread those handles apart in order to make the crimp. So these tools here are more compact. These are harder to use because you really have to have a strong grip to squeeze them, compared to that one. But for tight places, especially in renovation work, you kind of need those tight ones, these small ones. So that's just a little look at some of the tools. So anyway, you can see here, here's the old, these are the old poly B main lines. Okay, again, they're just coming right down just going right down the line there, through that hole and back where that red dustpan is, and then on the other side where that other bathroom is. You know, this is very predictable. And so you can see, you know, again, working from the top here, you know, we're not disturbing that insulation. You know, we're not tearing up that underbelly down there. You know, it's just, it's a clean way to do this. All right, so next up, I'm gonna get to the, I gotta start working my way through this bathroom. So I think what I'm gonna do is, I'm a bit short on piping, so instead of continue to work this way, I don't want to go and make a run for pipe today. I'm going to start working on, you know, bringing this from the hot water tank and work through under the floor, and then get all of this connected here where, you know, we did this before. Here we have our reference ready to go for the, you know, for that laundry service that we did, and the shower valve that we put in. So, you know, that was all done prior in another video. We did that also on the wall, so that's all in behind. You can see, I think, yeah, you can see a little bit there where it goes up through the wall. So that's all coming through the floor, and now I'm going to start making these connections here. All right, so I'll do a little bit more work and catch up with you in a bit. Okay, so here's something kind of interesting that I want to show you. So I'm working down in this space here, and I'm taking out some of the old pipe. So here's a section of pipe here that I've taken out. This is, again, this is the old poly B, that old gray pipe. This one is a hot line. It just happens to be, they just spray painted it. But take a look at this. Try and get close for you here. See that? You see this here? I'm looking at this right here. And if you look inside, you can see inside there. So there was rats down in this part of the home, and that is from a rat chewing on it. Okay? If you have rats, get rid of them. They do a lot of damage. Okay, here's something else I'm going to show you. So on this old vanity here, you can see there's the old poly B underneath there. And I don't know if you noticed before, but this was, you know, this was attached there, and it was coming out of the floor like this. And so you can see where we have this, I'll just show you here, we've got this, get a better light here. So we've got, this is the old poly B, the gray. And so when I did the demolition here and took all the sinks and stuff out, you know, any place where, you know, I had to get rid of taps and fixtures and whatever, I wanted to keep water in the house, you know, so I could use the toilet and things like that. So, you know, I had to keep the system pressurized. So when you cut this pipe, you can't get any fittings for the poly B anymore. So you have to do a transition. And so this is a transition. And so you put this on this side of the transition, it's for poly B. On this side, it's PEX. And so what I do is I just temporarily put in a piece of PEX like this, and then I put a cap on like this. So again, this is all PEX on this side, this is poly B on this side. But this allows you to work on your system and keep it pressurized. So, you know, as you're working your way through, you know, if you're living in the house, you know, we're not living in this house, so we could just shut the water off for a few days and it's no problem. But if you're living in your home, and, you know, making this transition from the poly B to the PEX, this is how you can do it. It's just temporarily. And then, you know, once you get ready to carry on, you know, then you just take and cut this off. You can salvage this little cap. You can't salvage this fitting because there's this different crimping on this side for the poly B. But, you know, just a little tip there on how you work and keep your system pressurized. You know, if you're going to cut these pipes, you have to have a way to, you know, stop them so that when you put the water back on, the water's not going to flow through them. Okay, folks, so I've got this all finished up here. I'm just going to give you a walkthrough and just show you what I've done here before I close everything up. So my new piping is all installed, and I've had it all pressured up overnight. And so just checking, you know, to make sure that there's no leaks in any of these places where we have these joints. And so, you know, that's gonna get covered up with this drywall just like that. And I'll kind of show you how I'm gonna patch all these holes in the floor and everything here in the next segment here. But you know, there you can see from the other side where that pipe goes out. The pipe comes underneath there. Okay, and this just shows how this is all finished up here with our 3/4 inch main hot and cold, and then our lines running off of that. Okay, back to the sink over there. And this just gave me a little access point here to get in and poke that toilet one up through the hole, which I showed you early. Okay, so again, that 3/4 inch hot and cold main line runs underneath the floor right to this point here. And now here you can see where I've got all the connections made here. All right, so going this way, you know, those lines are underneath the floor all the way up to the front. Okay, and here they go underneath the floor all the way to the back where the other bathroom is and the hot water tank. Okay, again, we've got our, these lines are coming across the kitchen sink. And you can see here where I've patched the hole here where the pipes used to come up before. We had all those ugly holes here. And this is how I've repaired this around this drain pipe. So there was rats that got into the cabinets here, and they had come up through the pipe. I showed you how big that the gap that was there earlier, and you know, that was their little way to get into the cabinets. They'd come up through the floor, through that, around that crack, and then into the cabinets. So now what I've done is, you can see I've cut this, I call it a bushing. It's a wood bushing. I just took a piece of plywood and drilled a hole in it, the same size as this pipe. This is an 1.5 inch pipe, and slid this down over top. I filled it all with glue underneath there, and screwed this down to the floor. There's nothing going to come through that now. There's going to be no bugs, no spiders, no mice, no rats are coming through there anymore. And of course, like I said earlier, they're always attracted to the kitchen. And so this is the other hole here where I ran that line over there for the fridge ice maker, okay, which will eventually get hooked up to the sink. And now here you can see, okay, so I have the two hot and cold main lines. I just left the old poly lines in here, and you know, used them to attach the new PEX lines, you know, so they're not sagging down in there. Okay, and I just taped them up. You know, again, you know, it's not ideal. You know, you should try and you know, strap these down as much as you can. So like you can see, like there, I found there's a 1x4, so I put a staple on it there to just, or a clamp to just, you know, keep it from slapping, basically keep the pipe from slapping. All right, and so we've got water now to our box here. All right, and then back here, I'll show you, I've got this piece here fitted. So this is how we end up here. So here I've got it's finished here now with the all the lines. So this is the cold line that comes up from the main. We go into the hot water tank. This feeds the hot water tank with this valve here. Okay, and then the hot water comes out of the tank into this line and then down. So then hot and cold both go down through the floor there. All right, and they come underneath here. All right, and then they go across. You can see where they go across there. Okay, and they go across over to this area here underneath the shower base, where I have all these other connections that I made before. So, you know, this is the hot that feeds the, this one feeds the shower tap up here. It also feeds the laundry service on the other side. Okay, and same with the cold line, which is this one here, connects there, and it feeds the cold here for this shower thing, and on the other side for the laundry. Okay, and then here we've got these lines now. This one and this one are hot and cold, which run over to that sink over there. Okay, and these lines just go through and line up over with the other ones I showed you in the kitchen there. Okay, now I have one problem. So I tested this overnight and I'm getting water. I don't know if you can see it. I'm getting water in my pan. So I've already dipped it out once and I'm starting to get water again back in it. So this is kind of as an example to show you that, you know, if you didn't have this pan, this water would be going all over the floor. But what it's doing, the pan is catching it, and as the water builds up, it'll build up and it'll hit this little drain here, and it will go out and down here and underneath the mobile home, just drain onto the ground. No harm done. So this is a bit of a problem now. This brand new hot water tank, and it's leaking on the inside of the tank somewhere. So it's a manufacturing defect. So I'm probably going to have to pull this tank out and replace it. I have to deal with this tomorrow. Go back to the supplier and find out what's going on. But here's the electrical. It's finished up now for the hot water tank here. So yeah, so I'll just take you for a walk back to the front here. And you can see here where I'm starting to patch this hole, but I'll give you one more little segment here that's going to kind of show you how I patch this. Basically, it's just, you know, gluing and screwing a cleat underneath like this, and I always use PL400, which is this stuff here, for, you know, when I do stuff like this, put stuff back together, just to, you know, kind of make it all come back together as one piece. But that panel will just sit back over top of this. It'll get glued and screwed, and the floor will be all solid again. The dishwasher sits on top of this. And all of this is going to end up inside of the back of the cabinet. You won't see in this when it's done. I just wanted to show you here, up in this main bathroom, just to show you that I do indeed have hot and cold water. So that's the hot there now. So we get hot water there now. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna patch the floors now, and you know, like I've said a couple times already, you know, it's a lot easier to work on the top than it is to work underneath. You know, it's pretty easy to patch these floors up on top compared to being underneath, trying to do everything over your head, and, you know, working with that insulation and the belly wrap and all that. So, all right, we'll come back one more time and we'll finish off this video. Okay folks, so we're going to wrap this video up now on changing these plumbing supply pipes out of this little mobile home here. So now you can see I've got the floors patched again. So, you know, all those holes that I cut for getting access, you know, into the floor, that's all been repaired now. And now when our new flooring goes over top, you'll never ever know that, you know, we've been underneath there and did all that. So when I do these, you know, because I resell them, I flip them, you know, I'm very careful to record everything, you know, lots of pictures. And like I said before, kind of at the start of the video, about how, you know, insurance companies are getting pretty particular about that poly B piping. So, you know, the pictures helps, is proof, you know, to show that, you know, we actually did the work. And when I get a potential buyer, I pass those pictures along, and, you know, the buyers have informed me in the past, you know, that those pictures have been very helpful, you know, dealing with insurance companies. You know, so if you're going to do this to your home, just keep that in mind. Take some pictures. It might help you with your insurance. All right, so now we've got the shower bases back installed now. This is it. That's permanently there now. All I have to do is go underneath and connect up the drain, and I'm about to do that. You can see I've got the tile backer all on here, ready to go. And my problem with the hot water tank seems to have resolved. So I'm very happy about that. No more water. It's been a couple days, so I cleaned all the water out of there, and I have a feeling what happened here was, this is a 40-gallon tank, so I put a lot of cold water into that tank, to get it going at the beginning there. And I think what I was seeing there was condensation. And once the condensation has kind of been dissipated, and the tank is warm now, there's no further issues with that. So thank goodness. I was not looking forward to pulling this out and putting another one in. So I'll continue to monitor it here. So it's under pressure, and I'm going to be using it for washing and things like that as I go forward here. Another thing that's important is I always record the date on the hot water tank when it was installed. So on this particular tank, you can see that this one was manufactured in March 25th, 2019, and was installed February the 11th. And again, with the insurance companies around here, if you have a problem with your hot water tank where it leaks and causes damage, and it's older than 10 years old, they won't cover you. So again, it's just record keeping to record, dates and times and everything for, for insurance purposes. I don't know about how it is where you are, but around here the insurance is getting really crazy. Like, it's getting out of hand, and the coverage, every time you get coverage, there's less and less coverage, and the premiums are just costing more and more. So I just have to connect that shower drain underneath and finish getting my dryer pipe out here. Have to get it out underneath, so I got a little bit of underneath work to get that dryer pipe out so it exhausts out the side of the skirt, and then we're ready to start refinishing the walls. So the next video is going to be part 1 of refinishing these walls and getting rid of all these this ugliness here. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. That I'm going to do this multi-part video, like a series on that, because it's quite involved and it's going to take some time. I'm looking at about 3 weeks by the time I get through these walls from start to finish. And yeah, so next video will sort of be an introduction to that and kind of show you what we're starting with here, and just kind of explain what we've done to get ready to get to this point to actually get going and refinish these walls. All right, folks, well, thanks very much for watching, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to share the video, that would be great. If you're not a subscriber, if you subscribe, that really helps out the channel, gets us exposure on YouTube, and we'll catch you on the next one.